This camera used to belong to my mom, and I shot a roll of film on it. And this was a couple of years ago, and there's not many places that you can go get film developed anymore. And it was kind of frustrating because it was very difficult to learn with this camera. So I decided to get a digital camera. I actually paid $40-something for this camera. This and this are pretty much the same lens. They're both Minolta 50mm lenses. And I didn't quite know what was going to happen when I put one of these lenses on a Canon camera. So first of all, let me show you. This is the adapter right here. And so you can get some adapters that have like a little focusing element inside so that you can get infinity focus. But I bought one of those, and every time I take a video or a photograph, you know, with a wide open aperture, it would be pretty blurry. And so one of the things you want to pay attention to is the flange distance, which is the distance from the film or the sensor to the lens. And so let's turn these both upside down. And so you can see that the Canon camera is a little bit wider than the Minolta camera. And the sensor sits right about here, and if we were to measure this distance to here, we end up with about 1 millimeter or 2 more in distance on the digital camera than we do the film camera. So that means that when we go to put this lens into this camera, you see this stuff sticking out behind here. So we need to push this out a little bit further. And so that's essentially what this adapter right here will do. We will put it on like that. Put this on the camera. And so now if we look at this side upside down again, we can see that now the flange distance is even further. So instead of from here to here, we've pushed the lens out even further. And so what happens to a vintage lens or a lens that you're adapting to a camera, if you push it out a little bit further, it becomes nearsighted. And so the camera can essentially only see like from here to here. And so if you try to focus a long way away, you can't do that. It's pretty frustrating, but at the same time, I was having fun with this, taking a lot of macro photos and things that were very close to the camera. But you see, I'm nearsighted too, and you know, I was thinking, well, gosh, if I go to the doctor to get prescription lenses, you know, all of a sudden I could only used to see up close, but now I can see far away. So what I did was I went on Amazon and I ordered a set of scientific lenses, one of which is a double concave lens. And so if I kind of put this in front of the camera, I'm going to kind of show you the effect of what happens is that all of a sudden you see how I'm in focus now, and then the camera actually has to focus far away to see me now, but then it's actually focused up very close. So that is one of the interesting ways that you can correct a lens. And so I actually did that with this camera and this lens as I put this lens onto it, which would allow me to get infinity focus. And I can actually focus past infinity this way, and I can focus up pretty close. But the really fun thing that happened with this experiment was it created very bizarre background blur, because you don't normally have this type of lens as the front element. And so it got kind of interesting, and I'll be right back. So it got a little interesting in that I decided to go out and, I decided to try and add a macro extension tube to this, just to see, well, okay, without this, my lens focuses up close. With it, I can focus into infinity and get some really bizarre background blur. So I just push the lens out a little bit further. And so now we've got this to where you've got a macro extension tube. You have the adapter which pushes it out further. So this is almost 2 centimeters, 1.5 centimeters of macro extension tubes, a 50mm lens, and then a front element that corrects it from being nearsighted. So essentially what we've done is we've made the lens nearsighted again, even with these glasses. So I got this lens set up like this, and I stepped outside just to test it. And in my front yard were a couple of butterflies flying around. And I managed to get this photo, and this type of photo is one of my favorite types of like artwork, where everything looks a little bit abstract, but you can still tell what it is. And so I wanted to do more of this. So I went to the botanical gardens and tried to set up and take some images of butterflies, and so here's what we got. So with this combination of lenses, I wanted to try to find a subject that had a lot of color contrast, because it creates really interesting background blur for the out of focus area, and here you can see that. The area in the background looks very abstract, and I find this very enjoyable. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe as I look forward to making some more videos.